Guys, all the cars that you see in these videos are for sale on my website, www.woodsandbarclay.com. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, welcome back. This is the video series on the 1985 300D. In the last video, you saw me pull it off the trailer and put it in storage over here at my office. Well, today I'm getting it out and I've got it over here next to my office at Scott's place. And I'm gonna give it a quick car wash and degrease the engine. And then we're going back to my shop and I'm going to put it up on the lift and we're going to do the initial inspection and see what all needs to be done on this vehicle. So you can see we have the vehicle here. I've gone ahead and popped the hood and we're just going to do a quick pressure wash in the engine compartment because I like everything to be clean so I can fully inspect everything. And then we're just going to give it a quick wash and then we'll head back to the shop, get it on the lift and see what we're working with. Wow, this thing's cleaning up nice. Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 in the video series for the 1985 300D. This is the car that you saw in the first video. I took delivery from California. And guys, this is an incredible 300D. I got it from the original owner. It's fully documented. I have the original window sticker and it has 63,000 miles on it. So this is the initial inspection video. We're going to go under the car, take a look at everything. I'm going to make a list of the stuff I want to do, and we'll take it from there. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now, guys, at the beginning of the video, you saw all I've done is give it a hand car wash and degrease the engine compartment. We're going to take a look in the engine compartment after I get it off the lift. The first thing I noticed about this vehicle, these are the original bunt wheels. There's no paint chipping, cracking, fading, nothing. These bunt wheels, original bunt wheels, are in outstanding condition. It's very hard to find original painted bunt wheels from the factory in that condition. Sometimes we have to powder coat them, and these are immaculate. Even the center caps are excellent condition. But let's go up. I mean, this is just a example of a California car. First thing I want to do, I look up here at the front of the car. These seams are often places where rust will start, and you can see there's absolutely no rust. And even the original, so this is the band, like a little paint band that goes around the front of the car. It's actually the same color as the rocker panels that run down the side of the car. And Mercedes would paint that strip right along the top. So immediately that tells me there's been no repaint on the vehicle, because guys never do that correctly when they repaint them. And that band is usually painted body color. Another thing I notice, see the zinc dichromate plating is still on these nuts and bolts up here. There's no surface rust or corrosion on any of them. That is the first sign of an amazing vehicle. We check out the jack points, no rust or corrosion around any jack point. Guys, this is a garage kept California vehicle. This is as good as it gets. We'll check these jack points over here. No rust, no corrosion. Even the trim along the bottom of the car, the anodized aluminum, is in incredible condition. The rocker panels, you can see there's a little dirt under here. This has not been steam cleaned, pressure washed, dry ice blasted, none of that stuff. We're looking at an original car and that is immaculate condition. So we're going to go ahead and dive in underneath the car, and the first thing I always look at on these low mileage cars, I look for the zinc dichromate plating. You can see it is still on the oil cooler lines, the transmission cooler lines. This right here is the original AC compressor. So I'm definitely changing out that AC compressor. This may be the R12, still be an R12 system. Let me check here. Okay, I'm gonna have to look for the fittings up top. But let's go ahead and dive in here to the suspension. Like normal on just about every car, we need to do some ball joints. See where this boot is just come apart. That's even on the lowest mileage vehicles, I always find that. That's just what happens to ball joints. There's not even any surface rust on the brakes, but you know, these, I'll probably redo the brakes. We're definitely doing the brake hoses. That is an original, 38-year-old brake hose. So we're going to redo that. Probably do the calipers. Let's check the tie rod. Yeah, these tie rods are excellent condition. Nothing neat. We don't need to do anything with the tie rod. All the boots are good. Tie rods last, over 100,000 miles, no problem. Yeah, see how tight that is? That's the idler arm. Steering shock, good condition. Yep, see this ball joint over here? So definitely going to redo, put in some new ball joints. Look at the condition of there's no surface rust. You can still see the zinc dichromate plating, even up there on the engine mount cover. Let's check the engine mount. If the engine mounts are not ripped up or destroyed, engine mounts are good condition. Not a single drip from the power steering box. Look how clean it is up here. So this is the oil filter housing. There's a gasket behind there. On higher mileage vehicles, that gasket always starts leaking. You can see how dry it is and nice it is up here. Still have the zinc dichromate plating on the transmission line here. Let's check these lower control arm bushings. Yeah, see how good a condition these lower control arm bushings are? Don't need to change those. So we're looking at brakes, ball joints, AC compressor, AC dryer. I will change, yeah, see this transmission? This is the transmission cooler line here. See that little, it looks like there's a little, is that a little nick right there? I don't know, but these are, old rubber lines. I want to change that because if you ever get a break or a leak in one of these, it just blows out all your transmission fluid. So I want to go ahead and change those. There's no excessive leaking from the oil pan, but that is a 38-year-old gasket. So I want to change the oil pan gasket. I don't know, that gasket is probably would still last tens of thousands of miles, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and change it. Just, it's 38 years old. That'll keep any dripping, from the sides of the oil pan. Or usually they'll drip in the back. Yeah, you can see it's a little wet right there. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. The turbo drain back gas, look at that. Grommet, not a single drop of oil on there. Awesome condition. These belts, I bet you these are original belts. Yeah, yep, that's the original Mercedes belt. So I want to put some new belts on here. AC belt, power steering belt, and there's 2 alternator belts. All right, let's go ahead and move back here. So this is one thing I love about West Coast cars. The exhausts are such amazing condition. They all have surface rust, but see, it's barely, you normally get more flaking, more surface rust on these, and this is just incredible condition. Even the bushings that mount the exhaust bracket to the side of the transmission, they're soft and good condition. We're going to do, an oil, transmission oil change, drop the pan, put on a new gasket. But, a full service. But that looks fantastic. It's not wet around there. Wow, look how clean it is up in here. So this is the flex disc on the drive shaft and transmission mount. Now, this flaking on the transmission mount, that's just paint. They paint these when they, I guess at the manufacturers, they would paint them, and so the paint always flakes off. That transmission mount is awesome condition. No need to change that. Let's check this drive shaft center support bearing. So, yeah, that's good. It only barely flexes, and you can see the boot around that bearing is not ripped. It's in excellent condition. I mean, this is a 60,000 mile vehicle. That's what you would expect. Yeah, this exhaust is just amazing condition. Let's move back here. Check this rear flex disc. Yeah, look at that, how good a condition that is. No cracking, no tearing. That's great condition. Drive shaft. This is a super clean one owner original car. Looking back here at the boots, the axle boots, look, they're still malleable. The rubber is still good. There are no rips, no tears. That's great condition. No leaking from any of the fuel lines up here. Of course, we'll do a differential service. The sway bar end links, I usually always have to change those because they're similar to the ball joints. Yeah, see this little boot right here? Watch this. See how that little boot just crumbles and comes apart? So, yeah, see that's a little loose. It's not supposed to be that loose. I'll change that. Rear calipers and hoses. Yeah, we'll go ahead and change them. That's the original hose. And that's the original calipers. We'll go ahead and do that. Also want to refinish. So this is the original rear suspension, rear trailing arms. It's in excellent condition, but I always like to refinish this in the factory semi-gloss black. See, there's some of the factory semi-gloss black right here. So I like to clean this up and, you know, repaint these nice so the suspension looks nice. So I'll probably do that on this car. These axle boots over here are great. Yeah, that's good condition. Again, this is an original brake hose. We're going to change that, but there's one more area I want to point out back here, and you only see this on like the nicest West Coast cars. Some East Coast cars have this, but up here, there's a panel that runs along here. That it's the retainer that holds on this bumper cover up here, and a lot of the wheel kicks back anything from the road, water or anything else, dirt, mud, and it'll sling back here. But it doesn't rain much in California, so you can see the bolts back here. They're still zinc dichromate plated. See how there's no surface rust anywhere? On a lot of cars, this is like this bar right up here is very crusty, and you don't have that on this car. Also, these areas back here, see how solid that is, how clean it is back here? That's a sign that, the car was really never driven in the rain or in an environment where it really didn't rain much. So anyway, let's go ahead and get it back down on the ground. Guys, what you're looking at is one of the most well-preserved 300Ds you're gonna see. I get a few of these through the shop every year. I've had maybe 3 or 4 like this, but what you're looking at is an incredibly well-preserved vehicle that needs, some minor refurbishment to make it, very reliable to drive it every day for the next, however many miles. But let's go ahead and lower the car down, and let's check in the engine compartment, check the condition of hoses, and oh, I didn't check the oil cooler lines under here. I want to check these. That's very important. Yeah, so you can see there's not even any leaking or wetness on the oil cooler lines. You want to look out for that. If yours are like super leaky and there's oil dripping all down here, you definitely want to change those. But those have plenty of life left in them. Yeah, I'm looking at these lower control arm bushings here. Yeah, those are great. Ball joints, transmission cooler lines, brakes, hoses, AC compressor, AC dryer, oil pan gasket. All right, let's go ahead and lower this down, and let's check the engine compartment. Okay, before we pop the hood and inspect the engine compartment, I want to show you an attribute of these low mileage California cars that you really need to, take note of. And it's all the rubber. Like, see how perfect condition these rubber gaskets are. Normally you get cracking around the edges, and also the window brushes. See how perfect these window brushes are? It's extremely hard to find original 300D cars that are in that kind of condition. And you know, the the anodized aluminum, I mean, it's virtually perfect on this car. Let's take a quick peek inside and show you the condition. And this, guys, this is 100% original garage kept. You can see there's no cracking. It's a little dusty in here, but there's no cracking on any of the wood trim. It's flawless. See the dash? It's extremely difficult. Like I said, I find, you know, 3 or 4 like this per year. I mean, look at the mileage, 63,300 miles. See how none of the gauges are faded? None of the needles are faded. They're all that nice kind of orangish yellow color. Just go ahead and pop the hood here. For example, let me show you one more thing. Look at these seat back nets. They're not even stretched. That means no kids or anybody sat in the back seat and was playing with those nets and stretching them out. This car even has, you know, the original like vinyl plastic surrounds around the windows. There's not a single wrinkle. That means it never saw a lot of heat or direct sunlight. See right here? Oop, there's something I want to change. Right there, see this little guy? Looks like it's bent over. So we'll pop another one of these on here. Those just screw off and you can change them. I've got a bunch of new old stock ones over there. We'll toss that one, throw that one away. But yeah, see the trim around here? And like the gasket. It's very hard to find cars like this, guys. Like the felt around the doors, it's not faded, it's not ripped. Same with the B-pillar piping. It's all these little details that are only on the nicest cars. So let's go ahead and look in the engine compartment. Hang on, let me grab another door lock to put on here and stick another one of these right here, and these just screw back in place. And of course I need to detail the interior. I just got my finger smudged some grease right there, but yeah, Scott will detail that stuff. But let's go up here and take a look at this engine compartment. Guys, take note of that there. Look at, see how the color, the blue is not faded, the white, that's all paint. If they've never been parked out in the sun and exposed to UV, this is never faded. Now, first thing I want to do is get this janky hood pad off of here. That is not an original hood pad. But guys, look at this right here. What you're seeing right here is, that's an extremely well-preserved original vehicle. It never saw any harsh weather, or it never saw any exposure. You see all the zinc dichromate plating. That's all the original plating is still in the engine compartment. It is extremely clean. Now, all I've done is just decrease the engine. We did that yesterday. There's no fancy detail spray. There's nothing on here to, you know, make this nicer than it is. This is an extremely nice 300D. And of course, it's the California model, so you have your air cleaner relocated, and the turbo is right here. Now, the reason California did that is because there was a trap oxidizer underneath this turbo. It's like the size of a watermelon, and what it does, it filters out the diesel particulates before they go out the exhaust. California required that. So we actually removed those, take them off the car, which we've already done on this car. And if you can see right there, see that black pipe? There we go. That black pipe has replaced the trap oxidizer, and that just connects right into your standard exhaust and goes out the muffler just like a normal 300D. So we've basically removed that and the EGR. There we go. See how we've removed that EGR? Those things, you know, they were for emissions, and when you have the EGR here, it reburns exhaust gases, and so it can clog up your intake manifold. And that trap oxidizer, that was a recall item by Mercedes. So we have recalled it because it wasn't removed on this car. But the car runs outstanding. But this is one of the nicest examples you will see. You can see it still has the insulation on the, that's the breather tube from the valve cover. Still has the insulation on the AC manifold. And guys, I think this is still, this is still an R12 system. Let me see if I can get this cap off and I'll tell you exactly. Yeah, guys, that is an R12 system. So I'm going to preserve that. And I'm going to recharge this with R12 because R12 just works a little better than R134. Don't get me wrong, an R134 system, if it's done properly, will work great. But the R12 system, you're like, 5, 6, 7 degrees cooler, and you can tell. So it's really cool. Plus, this car is so original and so nice, I want to keep it R12. Let me show you something else about the 85 models. Now, I always notice the 85 models, the shifting on the transmission seems like, man, they really nailed it. They really got it right on these 85 models. And that's what all this gadgetry is here. See all these vacuum lines going up here? We call that the blue flying saucer. You have this over here. Pierre Hidari knows this system like the back of his hand. He did a great write-up in the Mercedes MBCA magazine. I forget what it's called. He did a great write-up on this system. But what I look for and what we're inspecting for is the condition of this rubber. And guys, look how good that rubber. There's no cracking at all. This is all the original rubber connectors. They're perfect condition. So there's no reason to change all these connectors. Here's one thing I want to do. Of course, we're doing a main filter and our pre-filter. See, it's a little dirty. But this primer pump right here, this thing will leak. Basically, you can unscrew this and then you can pump it. And when you screw it back down, there's an O-ring that will seal under there. And those O-rings always leak. And I'll show you what we replace them with. This is stuff for another car, but there we go. There's the Bosch replacement. And these you don't have to unscrew. They just pump like that. So always replace those. Other things we want to do, of course, we want to pop everything off here and do a valve adjustment. These diesel return hoses, these are not genuine Mercedes. These are the black aftermarket stuff, which is crap. I hate it. So these eventually will start leaking, and I'll show you what we replace it with. There we go. This is the genuine Mercedes stuff. You can see it's like a brownish gray color. Stuff's much better. This is stuff for another car, but this is kind of the similar stuff we're doing to this car. There's the AC, the sealing gaskets. There's new AC rings to seal up the system, the receiver dryer. We're going to do the switches, the sway bar end links. There, the transmission cooler lines. There's the brake lines, brake pads, all the fluids and filters. We're going to do all that stuff on this car too. And along with changing the brakes. Here's some original, these are ATE. That's the OEM manufacturer that supplied Mercedes. These are brand new in the box. These are going on this car. So anyway, that's my initial inspection. I'm going to come up with I briefly covered a short list of what I want to do, but you guys will see everything in the videos. And first thing I'm going to do is order a hood pad and get that stupid foil hood pad off of here. Anyway, stay tuned for the next video where you'll actually see me doing the work, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.